regular council meeting for March 26th. Call the meeting to order, please. Council, we need to adopt the minutes of March 12th call meeting, special council, public hearing the 26th, and regular council meeting March 12th.
Would you like to use the mic, Mr. Mayor?
I guess that would be a good idea, wouldn't it? I actually have to forget one thing, or I don't feel like I've done a proper job. There we go. Can you hear me now?
Something's wrong.
Sorry. Okay. We're going to adopt the minutes of March 12th, COW meeting, special council meeting, public hearing minutes of February 26th and March 12th. Councillor Peak, thank you. Seconder, Councillor Barkwell. Are there any errors or omissions? None stated. All in favor? None opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay, we have a motion, and we have to have a motion to adopt tonight's agenda. Are there any amendments? Yes, or no, I guess it was finalized. That's good. Okay, we have no amendments. Someone bring that forward, please. Councillor Traynor, thank you. Seconder, Councillor Peak. All in favor? None opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay, we're moving into the public hearing. And this is call a public hearing to order. This is a public hearing regarding zone 003 for 9918 Winpool Road. I'll now outline the public hearing process. This public hearing is being held pursuant to Section 465 of the Local Government Act. During this public hearing, anyone who believes that his or her interest is affected by the proposed development will be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard or to present written submissions respecting matters contained in the bylaws that are the subject of this hearing. All information, correspondence, petitions, or reports that have been received concerning the subject bylaws have been made available to the public. Council may ask questions of staff and public, but once the public hearing is over, no new information can be received. Council debate on the bylaw will take place when the bylaw is considered after the conclusion of the public hearing. At that time, any questions of staff will be for clarification purposes only. I will be inviting the public to come forward and present their comments. Speakers are asked to state their name and address for the record. Speakers are encouraged to limit their remarks to 5 minutes and should include all of the relevant information in their presentation. Further opportunity will be afforded for all persons to speak a second or third time once all persons have had an opportunity to speak. Okay, and I'll ask the Director of Development Services to introduce tonight's topic.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The public hearing is for a rezoning application for 9918 Quinpool Road. The application is to rezone the subject property from RSD1 medium lot zone to RSD1I residential single detached intensive zone. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. We received any correspondence?
No correspondence was
No
received.
correspondence. Okay, we'll just proceed now. This is an opportunity for public input. Ask for the first time. Of course,
Is the mayor's mic on? Because I can't hear.
sorry, I must be moving my head and not catching it.
Okay.
Would the proponent like to speak? Okay, we'll move ahead. Asking for the first time for those in attendance to present their views. Anybody like to come forward? For a second time, would anybody like to come forward and present their views on this in this public hearing? And for a third time, would anybody like to come forward? Okay, Council, I'd like to have a motion to adjourn the public hearing, please. Councillor Traynor, Councillor Peak, thank you. All in favor? Carried and opposed. And that's at March 26, 7:05. So we'll move ahead with our agenda. Do you have any delegations? No delegations. Okay, we have an opportunity for public comment now, a maximum of 15 minutes in our agenda, 2 minutes per person. And we have any highlighted items, but we have 2 items that needed to be highlighted but weren't. It's our financial plan. Was there one other as well? Is there one other one?
So there's 2 items that weren't highlighted. The financial plan could have been highlighted, and was the other one the,
12.1 and 12.2 should also be highlighted.
Okay, that's what I was.
As should 12.3 and 12.4.
12.1, 12.2.
thank you.
Okay. Okay, so would anybody like to speak to any of the now amended highlighted items on the agenda? Okay,
The
thank you.
financial plan is a highlighted item.
Yeah. Sorry, it's okay, yeah,
Now everybody moves. Just
Yeah.
have to be clear.
I should change my mind now, shouldn't I? There we go. No?
Thank you. Hello, Mayor Waterman, councillors, and district staff. My name is Eric Thompson. I am the chair of the Summerland Skate Park Committee, and I have some of our representatives here with me at the back row. We are a volunteer community organization, and we encompass a wide cross-section of the community, including youth and seniors. Summerland has an opportunity to make something positive happen in our community, something that will impact young lives and add to the vibrancy of the region. The Summerland Skate Park has been a dream of many people for many years. Our group has been working hard to fundraise, but we know there are many other projects in need of money. Important projects like the hospital expansion are at the top of the list, and we understand and support that. We will keep doing everything we can to raise funds as long as it takes. We appreciate the cost for a skate park is high. Skate parks are more than just several loads of cement. It takes specialized materials and a company with the skills and expertise to build it. Our park designs have been well thought out with input from a professional skateboard construction company, plus local skateboarders and many others in the community. And this park is not just for skateboarders. It's for children on scooters, BMX bikes, and rollerblades, children of all ages. It will also be a gathering place for people of all ages, including people like me, parents who want to skateboard with their children. As the past president of the Summerland Chamber of Commerce, I've heard people discuss the importance of attracting young families. And yes, a skate park will do that. It will also attract tourists and provide them with a fun activity in downtown Summerland. But our new skate park will also be a much-needed recreational space for those of us who live here. The council correspondence on this issue is heartwarming. It shows a genuine care and understanding for the needs of youth and families in our community. I agree wholeheartedly with Adam, whose parents moved to Summerland from the Lower Mainland to retire, and he says, not every kid wants to play soccer or baseball. As one of those kids many years ago, it meant the world to have other options that were safe and respectful. Using these funds to build a skate park is an investment in youth in your community and something you won't regret. Thank you, Adam. I also have to say some of the angry and negative comments that were sent to council is unfortunate and sad. But people do have their own opinions, and I respect that. We're not taking anything away from people. We're taking steps to create the community we all deserve, a community that cares for and supports each other despite our differences. I want to applaud the District of Summerland and Summerland Council for considering the skate park in your upcoming budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I understand there's a body of people that would like me to take up skateboarding, knowing full well how dangerous it is.
There are any others?
Okay, now I have my mayor's report. A week and a half ago, I attended the Spring Mayor's Caucus in Squamish. It's an opportunity to discuss common issues affecting our communities. Several major topics were discussed, including the ongoing opioid crisis, marijuana regulations, and the rural-urban divide. The opioid crisis was addressed by Dr. Tyndall, a professor at the UBC School of Population and Public Health and Deputy Provincial Health Officer. He stated that 1,500 people died last year in British Columbia, and there were over 20,000 911 calls related to the issue. The crisis is reaching our communities with deaths and overdoses occurring in the Okanagan. Some of the drivers are HIV, Hep C, homelessness, sex workers' use, mental illness, and overdose. These are all intertwined, and we have really failed to address these drivers. One of the keys moving forward is to align law enforcement with public health to learn how to deal with issues instead of criminalizing and stigmatizing the people involved. That was a key statement by those present, that it was seen as a health issue, and we needed to avoid criminalizing instead of treating the difficulties that create the problems. We also discussed the upcoming federal legislation, the Cannabis Act, Bill C-45, which will establish several federal regulations such as distribution, minimum age for purchase, personal cultivation and possession, and criminal penalties. It will also establish a national tracking system, regulate standards, license producers, and will regulate edibles within 12 months of BC 45 coming into force. Bill C-46 will amend the criminal code for impaired driving, will create new offenses for having specified levels in blood within 2 hours of driving, and provide regulatory authority to approve roadside oral fluid screening devices. Timing of the regulations will depend on when Parliament passes the legislation. Last week, there was concern that it was going to be held up, that it might get held up in the Senate, but it did pass. So I don't anticipate we'll be seeing the sort of late implementation that earlier we were thinking it might be, like September, late August, September. It's more likely to be closer to the time the federal government had planned on. Another significant topic was the implications of the rural-urban divide. In the larger urban settings, there is a shift taking place from a materialistic approach to a post-materialistic approach to the population's mindset. The materialistic approach is one being concerned about more basic requirements, such as economic growth and infrastructure management. The post-materialist approach is more lifestyle-oriented. There is a blend of both thoughts in both urban and rural areas. I believe we are seeing a clashing of approaches taking place when we need to unify and find a balance to generally improve and recognize each other's needs for the betterment of our communities. Vancouver Mayor Gregor Robertson stated that social media is not helping to unify people, but rather is creating a division through misinformation. Recently, Andrew Coyne of the National Post, in a column March 23rd, said that the pessimists might be right, that social media may have plunged us into a new dark age. Many commentators have concluded that social media platforms, such as Facebook, Twitter, and Google, are more a force for harm than good. There is a coarsening of debate with the spread of false information and conspiracy theories. The Cambridge Analytical scandal involving 50 million Facebook accounts has contributed to a rising sense of alarm over the effects of social media on human behavior and civil discourse. Unfortunately, we are seeing this take place in communities like Summerland, where social media is sometimes used to bias and inflame discussion. False information and exaggerations create unnecessary divisions and cost the community emotionally and financially. Thank you. CAO.
Thank you. Council, I just have two items to update you on. Firstly, on Saturday, last Saturday, March 22nd, Summerland hosted a free rainwater capture and reuse technique workshop. It was presented together with Zoe Kirk from the regional district. The workshop was fully registered. There was 35 attendees, and they also had 7 walk-ins. And staff described how the workshop aligned with Council's priority of sustainability and community engagement, and this discussed the importance of water conservation and the impact of water use on our dams, the water treatment facilities, etc. And it was really very, very well received. I just wanted to make sure council realized it. And staff already had a number of people that's requested to be added to the Climate Action Committee or emailing list. Timbermark donated a rain barrel to use as a demonstration, and then also gave it away as the door prize at the end of the session. So that was, we're going to add some photos to Facebook later on this week as well. So that was kind of an interesting event that happened. And then also, I briefly mentioned it at the budget financial plan workshop the other day, but the province did formally announce on March 22nd, did announce that the District of Summerland was successful in the $100,000 BC Rural Dividend Fund grant for the Arts Center. Before that, it wasn't, I think I had informed council, but it is now public. It's to help with the planning, enhance the programming, project manager at the Arts Center in the creation of a cultural hub. So that is a very exciting initiative for us to add to our other rural dividend projects. And that's it for me today.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to unfinished business, we have the two items, or, the two recommendations in basically a pair of motions coming forward from the Committee of the Whole meeting and CO.
Just a note that these recommendations that you passed this morning came out of the presentation with Sergeant Faulkner this morning, and you may want to have more discussion now, or else these are the recommendations you made this morning.
Okay. Okay, council, is there any, I don't suppose since Sergeant Faulkner isn't here, we had a bit of a discussion this morning. Go ahead. Who's up?
There was somebody up there.
Were you somebody? Okay, Councillor Pico.
If I brought them forward, we could have discussion.
Yep, good idea, thank you.
Council passed the recommendations by the Committee of the Whole that the Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure be requested to install red light cameras and photo radar at Highway 97 intersections in the District of Summerland, and 2, that the Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure be requested to install jersey barriers along Highway 97 south of Sunoco Provincial Park to separate Okanagan Lake from Highway 97.
Seconder, please. Councillor Traynor, thank you. Okay. Anybody have any? Councillor Barkle.
I would note that David Eby, the Attorney General, has stated that the revenues from these type of cameras will go to the municipality that they're in. So that's, it was suggested at one time people wanted to see the money go to ICBC to lower insurance premiums, but he said no, that they're going to go to the municipality. So we might see some revenue from this as well.
Just for council's information, typically any of the fines that they receive through traffic control, a portion does come to the municipality, but it comes through a revenue sharing program. My guess would be that it would be added to that, but it is prorated to through a formula.
Do you think it would be a very big percentage? Yeah.
I don't think I can comment.
Councillor Traynor.
With regards to the second recommendation, I think it's a really good idea. That section between Sunoco and I believe it's Pyramid Park is the first provincial park when you're heading south, is one of the only sections that doesn't have a barricade. And I know of at least one incident, I believe it was in February, where a van went into the lake. And the people were okay, but it usually happens every year. So I hope that they will take this under consideration and put in some barriers.
Thank you. I just want to add to, before I lose things with respect to Councillor Barkle's comments, I agree, but I think the crux of the Sergeant Faulkner's discussion this morning was around the danger of that intersection. I've talked to him in the past about speeders in various sections of town. Prairie Valley Road comes to mind, South Victoria. People are ripping down there pretty good clips, but we are not seeing incidents on those roads really as a result of that speeding. Where we're having a lot of accidents are at that Solly Highway intersection. And so it's about the only way, it's actually quite a concern. So the financial aspect aside, of course, that's, if it accrues to the community, that's good. But the spurring on of this was Sergeant Faulkner's report to us regarding the number of incidents, and our primary concern in the community around these types of incidences is at that intersection. So he was very clear on that, and that's what, this seems to be one of the only ways that we can address this and try to mitigate the problem at that intersection. Councillor Peak?
Yes, I just reinforce what you just said yourself, that it was identification of safety and slowing the drivers down that want to travel and speed through the lights. So it's both at Peach Orchard and at Solly were the discussion points. So council had the discussion about installing these as a deterrent. I would like to speak to the second part, which
Yep.
is an installation of the Jersey barriers. It's not, as Councillor Traynor spoke about, the safety hazard is there, and we've seen it this year, but every year. And I know that I do a lot of traveling at nighttime at around 10 o'clock on those roads, and I really see that there's a danger. There's an icing danger. It depends on the weather, and that we could really make a difference in our community by having those Jersey barriers in on those lanes of highway. So I heartily endorse the council putting these forward.
Thank you. Okay, Councillor Booth.
If I might just add one other thing, thank you, Councillors Peak and Traynor, for bringing this up. At a recent RDOS meeting, we had a delegation from the Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure, and the timing, frankly, couldn't be better, because they were asking about specifics for highway safety issues. So this is good timing.
So if we deal with this evening, you and I can bring this up on Thursday, perhaps.
Yeah. Well, we don't have one this Thursday,
I
but
thought it was this Thursday. Okay, there you go. Good. Thought I had a meeting. Okay, so any further discussion at this time? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to correspondence. Councilor, is there anything in the letters to us that you want to bring forward? Councillor Peak.
Yeah, I have to get to them if you don't mind. Just give me a second. Yes, there was a letter from the Minister Robinson regarding the Code of Conduct, and I think that that's an important thing that was spoken to at the UBCM conference, I believe not just last year, but previously. There is a working group. I would like to make sure that we make use of that in regards to prospective candidates and orientation materials for any new people coming on our council in this year's election. And I make note of the fact that there's a discussion regarding procedural bylaws and existing codes of conduct, and to embed the opportunities for this kind of working document into such things as the oaths and as I mentioned before. So I'd like to see that we make sure that we make use of that. If I might also, there's a couple of others. There's a letter on assessment management, and I wouldn't mind if it might be possible for our staff to take a look at this letter, whether this is something worth endorsing on our own perspective. There's a number of well-made points within that letter, if that could be put to staff to have a look at as well. And when I looked at the employer health tax, there's a letter from the City of Maple Ridge. I didn't bring this question to the open meeting of the budget. However, I had asked our treasurer about the impact of the health tax for our own municipality, and I believe that both for ourselves and for District 67, the school trustees, that this extra tax burden of downloading will certainly make it more difficult. It will definitely result in a tax hike for us, and I don't know what the impact will be at the school board, but I think those are all things that we should have some discussion on during this this springtime. I'm looking at the revenue sharing on the cannabis sales, which was also included in the correspondence. And I'm just asking, did we actually send a letter regarding this? Because I know it was spoken to at one of our meetings.
I don't believe that we had a resolution to send a meeting. We talked about public consultation, but we, I think we're expecting to have that discussion as part of the whole cannabis conversation coming up.
Okay. And
So no, we have not yet.
so we haven't. So I don't like to just assume, but I'd like to make sure that it is in part of that public discussion.
Yeah, and I've made note of that.
Thank you very much.
Can
Thank
I
you,
just
Mr.
get a
Mayor.
clarification? So the correspondence that you asked to have staff do some work on,
Is page 30, well,
which item?
it's the asset management.
Oh, the one, or just the letter from, oh, right, from the AGLG, the AGLG report?
Yep.
And just to be clear, so what action?
My question being, I didn't quite understand this, and I wonder if it has impact and importance to us, and if you could review it, if it's worth bringing back to us. Whether we would support that discussion.
Okay, did council, so should we make note of that, or did you want to make a resolution to bring that back, or just make a note?
I think just make a note of it.
I would
that
think
it's
just make a
something
note of
to
it
look at.
for direction.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Good, thank you. Okay, could I have a motion to receive the correspondence, please? Councillor Peak?
I
thank
will
you.
make that motion.
Yep. Councillor Boot, second, thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Okay, 10.2. Moving on to committee and commission minutes. Anything there that council would like to bring to our attention? Okay, could I have a motion to receive, please? Or are you,
Yeah, I'm bringing forward the recommendation as written.
okay, thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Peak, thank you. Any further discussion on any of those items? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay, now we're moving forward to 11.1. CO?
This one is a development services report, so Mr. Strachan will
Thank you,
discuss.
Mr. Mayor. This is a development variance permit application. This application is for a property at 7311 Fisk Street. The application is to install an extension to an existing retaining wall. The original portion of the retaining wall was constructed prior to the zoning bylaw amendments around retaining walls, which added a regulation that limited the height of retaining walls to 1.2 meters. The application is to construct an extension to the retaining wall, which will be 3.2 meters in height. As you'll note in your package, this portion of retaining wall faces into the property and isn't adjacent to any roadways or adjacent property developments. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Have we had any correspondence?
No
No correspondence. This is an opportunity for the public to participate, and would the proponent like to speak to this? It's not here. Would any member of the public like to speak to this item? Okay, we'll move forward. Council, have you any questions of Mr. Strachan? Councillor Peak.
Mr. Strachan, on the, with the development of a higher retaining wall, is this retaining wall going to have a load on it because of the expansion to the bistro, or is it merely the height that we're looking at?
So the increase is to height, but with an increase in height, you're also increasing load because you're increasing the amount of material that the wall will retain. The wall is required to be constructed under the supervision of a structural engineer as well as a geotechnical engineer to ensure the bedding will support the wall and ensure the wall structure itself is adequate to support the materials behind. So the building permit will have a supervising engineer participating throughout the process.
Thank you very much for the clarification.
Anybody else? Pretty straightforward. Counselor Peak,
If I may bring the resolution forward.
please.
The development variance application to vary zoning bylaw 2000-450 to increase the maximum height of a retaining wall from 1.2 meters to 3.2 meters or 10.5 feet on the plan EPP 13875 be approved.
Thank you. Seconder, please. Counselor Trainer, thank you. Any further discussion? Just happy to see it's going to be engineered. That's a high wall. Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much. Moving on to 11.2.
Mr. Strachan.
Mr. Strack.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is a temporary use permit renewal application. This is for the property at 13415 Lakeshore Drive. The application is a request to extend a temporary use permit that was granted for 2 years, ending November 9th, 2017. The applicant has a business that's operating on this property and has requested an extension to continue that business operating. Council is able to grant, if they wish, one extension to a temporary use permit for a duration that they may decide. The recommendation from staff is for extending to 2 years. The application in our process with the District of Summerland requires it go to the Advisory Planning Commission. They provided a resolution which is in your report. We also had a second resolution from the APC which was not included in your report. It should have been included. The first resolution you have in your report is that the temporary use permit be issued for 1 year, recognizing the use is not compatible with the long-term plan for Lower Town area. The second resolution, which did not make it into your report, is that council consider a security deposit as part of the temporary use permit approved to ensure the uses do not continue past the end date of the permit. So these are the two resolutions that were brought forward by the Advisory Planning Commission for council's consideration and deliberation of an extension or continuation of the temporary use permit. As noted, staff have recommended that the council consider a 2-year extension, which would end November 9th, 2019. So it would not be starting at the date of council's approval. It goes forward from the date of expiration, which was last fall. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any correspondence relative to this?
One piece of correspondence was received and was included in the agenda.
Okay, thank you. It's a public opportunity now. Is the proponent, would the proponent like to speak? Any member of the public like to, oh.
Mr. Mayor, councillors, thank you for having me tonight. My name is Mike McQuiston. I'm the owner of Direct Tap on Lakeshore here that we're speaking about. I just wanted to, I was here at the last public meeting as well, and I just wanted to address some of the concerns that came up at that time. And I think one of the biggest ones was that we missed by a couple weeks our renewal date for this temporary permit, and that was completely my fault. Prior to that, our landlord had been the one that had done the permit, and I was unaware of the process, but the District Summerland staff has been very helpful in helping me understand that permit process, and so as soon as we were aware of it, we got on it right away. We currently employ just over 20 people and have some great staff. The majority of them come from here in Summerland. So as you know, it's not a great facility for our type of use, and we are actively looking for a new home. So it will be a stretch if we happen to be there for 2 years. Depends on where we land next, but we are looking for a building in and around the Summerland area to build or repurpose for more suited for our use. So I just wanted to give a little bit of color on that and our business, and if you guys have any questions specifically about it.
Okay. Councillor Booth.
Thank you. I'm sorry, sir, I didn't catch your name when you came.
It's Mike McQuiston.
Mike? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mike. Can you give us a little more detail on where it is that Direct Tap is looking in Summerland for another location?
Everywhere with an industrial address to it. Yeah. Right now, we need about 30 to 40,000 square feet. Our business is growing. As you know, the wine industry here is rapidly growing, so we have to stay ahead of the wine industry, and that they need a lot more space, and our role is to get their products to market. So it's really challenging in the interior all throughout to find space that's either already existing. So where we need to move next, knowing our deadline here, is that it will likely have to be a purpose-built facility, which is going to take some time, meaning I know my deadline now with the approval of this, hopefully. I know that that's something that's a massive priority for us to continue operation here in the interior, and hopefully still within Summerland.
Okay, thanks.
Councillor Barkle.
This is a permit really that is issued to the landowner and not the leasee. And I reviewed the recordings from the application a couple of years ago, and the landowner assured us that this would probably be a very short-term use, and that there is going to be 1 or 2 trucks a week. How many trucks a week back and forth do you have with your current operation employing 20 people?
We have 6 trucks ourselves that travel from our facility throughout the interior, and many of them leave for multiple days if they're doing Kootenay runs or Prince George runs, so they're not there for the majority of the week, or they are coming back and forth. 6 come back and forth. We also have long haul trucks that bring product to our facility from our other facilities or from the wineries themselves. So I couldn't give you a bang-on number in any given week, but any given week there would be 6 to 12 trucks leaving, and at some point, whether it be one day or a couple days a week. Yeah.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Councillor Peak?
If I may, and it may be a little bit sidelining, but I wouldn't mind a question to the planner regarding, Dean, have we had any applications for furtherance of a higher use on this property? I know that there was a discussion and an option for the owner to look to develop the property. We even had a sketch, and there was talk about putting in dockage and improvements on the property and possibly a boutique hotel. Has there been any movement on any part of that? Have we received any applications from Flynn Row regarding dockage?
Go ahead. I'll
Mary,
answer
do you
that, but
wanna-
we haven't really finished the
Right,
public part of this.
you should answer that one, and then maybe we can just check to make sure there's no one else in the public that wishes to speak, and then go back to the questions.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So not at this point. We haven't received a referral for a dock installation, nor have we received development applications for further development of the site.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Would any member of the public like to comment on this? Okay, thank you very much. I asked for correspondence, didn't I? Okay, council, any questions of the planner? I guess Councillor Peak, you're satisfied on that one?
I understand the answer.
Councillor Traynor?
Yeah, I just have 2 questions. The first was the APC recommended 1 year, but the staff report recommends 2. Do we know why they just recommended 1 year? That was my first question. And my second question is, can you just clarify again what a security deposit, what the purpose of it is, and how much that might be?
So the first question being 1 year, and they actually state in the resolution that they're concerned that the use is not compatible with the long-term plan for Lower Town area. But in staff reviewing that, the timelines it would take for relocating a business, and because we're already almost in April of this year, 1 year would give them until November of this year to relocate the business, which would be difficult for the business owner if they wish, we wish to see them continue operations in Summerland. So that's why the staff recommendation was for 2 years, because we've already chewed away a substantive chunk of that time. The second part being around the security, they didn't provide a duration. This is a request from the APC just to ensure, but in this type of scenario, this is a use permit, so a security doesn't necessarily create any additional requirements that we can't execute on. So they would no longer be in conformance with their permit, so they'd be required to move, whether they had a deposit or not. And what would we do with that deposit if they did not move? We'd still proceed with the same proceedings to have them vacate the property, either way, security or not. And I'm not sure about what we would do with that security should they fight us in relocating or moving out of that location. So staff did not bring forward that component as part of the staff recommendation. Just as not generally where we would use a bond, nor is there a dollar value that would be attached to that we've had recommended. Council could certainly pursue this option. However, it doesn't create any additional teeth that we would need to have the property vacated.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions of the planner? Questions to the planner?
Yeah, sir.
Go ahead.
I'm puzzled by your statement that a security wouldn't create any more teeth for, at the end of a permit period, because I thought the whole purpose of a security deposit was that you would lose that deposit if you didn't perform as expected in the term, and such as leave the building. I mean, I'm really puzzled here about this whole sort of reasoning. They knew that they had 2 years, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, and to say, well, we can't expect them to move within 6 months, say if it was a year, seems kind of, I'm getting into debate, but basically, are you certain about this security, not providing more security for the performance and moving out?
So a performance bond or security would be used, for example, for a development permit for landscaping.
Mm-hmm.
So if they didn't execute the landscaping as per their development permit, we would then cash the bond, install the works ourselves, or have a contractor install the works. If we were doing an engineer bond for works and services on a right-of-way and the property owner didn't install a sidewalk, for example, that was required as part of their development permit, we would then cash the bond and then construct those works themselves. In this scenario, this is a use thing where council has the authority to regulate use. This isn't a bond we could then cash and then move them off the property. This is something that council, I'm not sure what they would use the bond for, other than to hold it over the developer, or possibly as some form of bonding for legal proceedings. I'm not sure. So it's unusual to have a bond for this type of a permit, because council has so much authority over use. If the temporary use permit ends and they have not relocated, you would begin the same process either way, whether you had a bond or not.
And I think it would be very difficult, along exactly the lines that Mr. Strachan said, for the courts to allow the bond to be used, because it would be very difficult to define, because as he said, it's usually cashed in and put towards a particular thing, and even in that case, the particulars have to be very precise.
I see the analogy. I'd assumed it was just something they would automatically forfeit if they didn't meet the terms, but yeah, in those circumstances, yeah, I see where the question arises.
Councillor Peak, question the planner, please?
Yes, Mr. Strachan, the temporary use, would it inhibit the opportunity for the owner to redevelop the property?
The process for redeveloping the property would take several months, so it wouldn't prohibit the developer from moving forward with the planning process and the permitting processes for components such as the pier, the rezoning that would need to take place, the development plans that would need to take place. That process takes quite a bit of time. Because that process hasn't begun, we would be looking at a minimum of 6 to 9 months to complete that process, and then would need to proceed to permitting following that. So they would be into 2019 before they'd be applying for such things as building permits. As the landlord, they could vacate the business and proceed under their own requirements, and wouldn't be restricted in proceeding if they were meeting their lease requirements with their tenant.
Thank you very much.
Okay, no
May
more
I bring the
questions?
resolution forward?
Yes, please do.
That a temporary use permit authorizing the temporary commercial use of wine storage on a lot Plan 5896 located at 13415 Lakeshore Drive be approved for a further 2 years ending November 9th, 2019.
Seconder, please. Councillor Trainer, thank you. Okay, further discussion? Councillor Peak, or Councillor Booth first. and Councillor
Yes, because I've had several.
Thank you, Councillor Peak. I'm just reading something in the report here, and I'm looking for some input on process, so perhaps CAO Tynan could help me with this. Should the temporary use permit, I guess, become an issue or discourage redevelopment of the site, the temporary use could be terminated. how would that determination be made, and how would the temporary use be terminated? Is there a termination clause in that, or is it, I'm not sure how that works.
I think Mr. Strachan would be best to speak to the specifics of the permit.
Okay, thank you.
So council would go forward with a process of revoking the permit. So they would go through a similar process to what you've gone now and revoke the permit, which would eliminate the temporary uses and allow the use on the site.
And that would be as it's not meeting the conditions that, that are set out in the permit.
Well, I'm referring specifically to the statement that should the temporary use become an issue or discourage, actually not the issue part, or discourage redevelopment of the site, how would that discouragement be determined? And I guess you've answered the second part of my question.
So the determination would be by council. So if council identified that this was a limitation of some kind or was creating a problem within the area that was unsatisfiable, they would then could bring forward a resolution and instruct staff to begin the process for revoking the permit. So it would be council that would make that determination, whether it's as a result of receiving public input or some other process that may occur in the next 2 years. Council could begin that process if they wished, but it would be council that would determine that.
Okay. Okay. The council has
Okay.
the power to make those determinations if it comes down to it. Councillor Peak.
Yeah, my question as to whether there would be any interference on a opportunity for redevelopment really was answered by the planner. In terms of the temporary use permit, I don't see any difficulty in allowing that to happen. This is a viable business. It employs people within the community. As the owner, Mike McIntyre has stated, they are looking for an opportunity within the community. They may have to build that because that's a fairly large operation, 30 to 40,000 square feet. I would like to encourage them to do that within Summerland, and I think that the time frame that's set out as a temporary use permit may give them that opportunity. As I mentioned at the last meeting, the fact is that these are buildings that are at the waterfront. If they're empty, they probably attract some vandalism and people's possible inappropriate usages. So I think that a temporary use may, in fact, be advantageous.
Okay, thank you. I think there's couple of sentences in the report that actually help us out in determining whether the current use actually, they look for another site or whatever, in that this permit, if it's granted, if we do grant it tonight, council cannot grant further extensions. We were able to do it once. In other words, there really is a deadline now. And so we grant this, you actually have to start making some moves to, if the business is worth it to try and establish. So I'd encourage you to, get cracking on it, because as our planner stated, a number of months have proceeded, so I see no use in just giving a 1 year. That's why I would certainly agree with the 2 year, because as Councillor Peak just stated, jobs are at stake. I want to see employment in the community, so that'd be good. So, any further comments from our discussion? Okay, got a mover and seconder. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Okay, the motion carries. Thank you. Okay, moving on to 11.3.
Mr. Strachan.
This goes to Mr. Strachan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we have an application for a community plan amendment as well as rezoning application for 22820 Garnet Valley Road. And the application is to redesignate the land from open to agricultural and to rezone the property from forest grazing to A2 agricultural, and refer this application to the District's Advisory Planning Commission as well as the Agricultural Advisory Commission. So this is the process that we began recently, where we're bringing applications for introduction to council first and seeking their recommendation on forwarding them to the appropriate committees. So this is being received by council in advance of being received by these two commissions and committee. And council, if council approves this recommendation, this application will be brought forward to those two committees at their next meeting. And the resolutions from those committees, along with the bylaws, will come back to council for consideration of first and second reading, should this go forward today. Or council has the option to not have this go forward further, in which case the application would end. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, questions of the planner, please. It's actually fairly straightforward. Would someone like to bring a motion forward, please? Councillor Trainer.
I will bring the resolution as presented
Okay,
forward.
seconder, please. Seconder, Councillor Peak, thank you. Okay, any further discussion on this? I think the process has been described, and I think once we hear from the APC and the AAC, I don't see any particular difficulties. We'll see what they have to say. So, Councillor Boot?
May I just
Yeah,
ask
go
one
ahead.
question here? Mr. Strachan, in the information that's in our agenda, there is a mention of our OCP policy that promotes the inclusion of productive agricultural land into the ALR boundary, and currently neither of these are in the ALR, but they're both, at least the application is to put both of those into agriculture zoning. I'm wondering if the reason for that is because of the letter that we've received that's attached to the agenda as well from Gar and Cheryl McLean, where they state that they have the property listed for sale and may be doing a home site severance. Do you know if that's the reason why there is no consideration to move the agricultural land into the ALR per our OCP policy?
So at this point, it's a zoning application to bring it into agricultural zoning.
Yes.
And what makes it a little difficult with our zoning bylaws, we don't actually separate zoning between agricultural land reserve lands and non-ALR lands. Most communities have a zoning district that's exclusive for ALR, and then a zoning district that's also is for agricultural lands that aren't in the ALR. So we kind of have this blended zone with the A1 zone and the A2 zone that don't delineate those two. In this particular case, we don't know what the farm use is. They feel they've had a number of people approach them looking at farm uses for this site, and they feel that their opportunities are better suited to having agricultural uses beyond what's permitted under the current zoning.
Councillor Barco?
Okay.
Councillor Barco?
So can a large parcel like this have more than one zoning on it?
Any parcel can legally have multiple zoning districts attached to it. This application itself is not for a multi-zoning, it's for to rezone the entire parcel, but that is possible, and council has seen that previously, where you have one area of a parcel receive, for example, multifamily, and the second area of the parcel receive single family, or in commercial you can have multiple zones within it. It isn't required that a parcel in its entirety be zoned to any particular zone.
So to follow up on Councillor Boot's questions, then an application to include in this land or any other land in the Agricultural Land Commission Reserve would be driven by the landowner and not initiated by the district, or is there a process for the district initiating such a application?
It would be with the participation of the landowner, and would have to demonstrate to the Agricultural Land Commission that it's suitable for entry.
Okay. So would someone like, go ahead, Councillor Peak?
It's on the table, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, okay. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Okay, 12.1.
We'll have Tammy Rothery speak to this one.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As noted in your package, this is a simple amendment to the terms of reference for the Community Climate Action Advisory Committee, simply removing the reference to a specific year for the terms of reference so that it can be an ongoing document. Thank you.
Okay, pretty, again, quite straightforward.
I'll bring that forward.
Okay, thank you. Seconder,
Council
please.
adopt the terms of reference Community Climate Action Advisory Committee as presented.
Okay, seconder, please. Counselor Boot. So this just resolves any difficulties around having to reappoint quickly.
So this committee was restruck last year after some time without a committee, and we presented the terms of reference as a one-year terms of reference while we sussed out sort of how that committee was going to function. And based on the feedback from the committee, it's functioning quite well, and we're happy to carry forward with the terms of reference, just removing that date so that we can continue on.
Good, okay, thank you. Okay, any further discussion at all? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. I guess you're up again, Ms. Rothery, 12.2.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As noted in your package, we have had a 5-year management agreement for our existing electric vehicle charging stations, and that term is coming up at the end of this month, and so we're looking to renew that contract with the existing service provider. And there's some information about the work that staff did to explore other options in your package. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, any questions of Ms. Rothery? Counselor Peak.
So this really is just a renewal to a 5-year agreement, and it's with Flow now instead of whatever the other name was. I had a question regarding responsibility regarding potential issues, because this is an equipment provider that has a number of benefits. Could you maybe expand on that a little bit? I was concerned what the responsibility might have been without that and what the benefits were and what the issues might have been.
Thanks for that question. So you're absolutely correct that this is essentially just a renewal. It's the exact same terms and conditions as the previous agreement, only they've changed their name and it's for a different term. So any problems related to this station would be handled the exact same that they've been for the past 5 years.
So there's no difficulties with interface to our electrical utility?
No.
Okay. However, there is a cost over the next 5 years which we did not incur over the past. They were waived.
That's correct, yes.
Pretty minimal. Any further discussion? Someone like to bring that forward, please? Don't rush, Councillor Peak, thank you.
That the charging station management service agreement 2018-2021 be between Flow Service Inc. and the district be approved as presented, and the mayor and corporate officer be authorized to execute the charging station's management service agreement.
Seconder, please. Councillor Trainer, thank you. I think pretty straightforward. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay. 12.3, CAO, flood event.
This one, Mr. Johnson will speak to.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In the report, repair options for the various areas damaged in the 2017 floods have been identified and evaluated as explained in Schedule A. The major projects, as previously reported, are repairs to the F&I dock, the Lakeshore Drive shoulder repair and erosion protection, and the asphalt pathways in Peach Orchard Beach, Rotary Beach, and Powell Beach. So with this report, staff is seeking council direction on which repair options to proceed with. As noted, recommendations are to proceed with replacing the timber deck on the existing piles at the F&I docks. This is to allow construction to proceed this year prior to July of 2018. And it'll also reduce the initial investment from the district in these structures at this time to allow proper time to evaluate a long-term solution for these docks and that beach as a whole. Also, recommendations to proceed with enhancements for additional riprap along Lakeshore Drive where needed, and along the pathway in Peach Orchard Beach where there currently is none. And then additional paving down in Powell Beach parking lot, which will be identified as part of the Powell Beach Park Management Plan, which will be completed later this spring.
Okay, Councillor Booth, questions?
So thank you for that, Chris. The first three items there by priority on Schedule A are the ones that are under consideration?
Correct.
And are these, it says eligible DFA recovery sites, remediation recovery. So is that 100% or 80%?
80,
80%.
80%.
80%, thank you.
Anybody else? Councillor Peak?
Yes, Chris, if I understand this correctly, that if we were to take the used decking, the enhanced decking, I forget what the term is for that, that there is the possibility if we purchase that and put it on the old pilings, that we could then remove it and use it should we rebuild in 5 years' time with a plan?
That's potentially an option if you were to pursue option 2, which was the composite decking versus the timber.
Thank you
in
for the
option
word.
1. Yes, that is an option. However, the lifespan of composite decking versus timber isn't substantially longer, and so you have to outweigh the initial investment on that versus the investment on timber.
Just for clarification, Chris, you said is not, right? You didn't say is substantially different. You said is not
It's
substantially.
not substantially more.
So you're not gaining by doing it at this point?
Correct. And depending on which direction, if you look at this area for longer term, are you going to pursue a similar alignment and configuration of dock, or are you going to look at something totally different? So if you invest in that with the intent to reuse, you may not be able to, depending on what ultimately is decided upon for that area.
Thank you. But the 5 years would allow us an opportunity to look forward to do a proper plan and investigation as to how we might do a rebuild, or if it would be the same configuration or whatever.
Correct. During the assessment process, those are some of the questions that were asked by the assessors were, what's the intended use of these long-term, looking at the configurations of the F and the I. We may want to pursue, with a more detailed investigation into this.
Thank you. That makes sense.
So, if I might, Mr. Johnson, essentially the staff recommendation is talking about option 1, which is delineated more in table 2 in terms of the total cost to us and the funds that would come to us.
As to which, sorry?
Well, basically, we're looking at option 1 as being what you would prefer.
Correct.
So the costs outlined in table 2 would actually be what we're looking at this year as trying to do the F&I and Lakeshore Drive North and the linear pathways. So that kind of gets us up and running as quickly as we can.
That's correct. Table 2 includes the recommended options that were noted.
Okay. Councillor Peak.
Yes, I did pose this question to our treasurer before the meeting, but I'll ask it. How would these 3 projects be funded, making note that because of the enhancements, and we're hoping that we actually get 80%, that could be different, it could be an adjustment on that, but we have a 20% share. How would the 213,000 be funded?
So the financial plan shows the $213,000 coming from the land sale reserve fund,
Thank you very much, David.
with the other 80% coming from DFA.
So just to note, that was included in the financial plan that was originally presented to council.
Correct.
Councillor Trainer.
Did the provincial government put any time frame on when these repairs need to be done at all? Or was it just as soon as possible?
No, they encourage us to get our applications in as soon as possible, which we will be pursuing following this direction. So if your application's in the mix and in the process, it'll make its way through, and then funding will be approved. After the project is completed and all the receipts have been submitted, then they fund back the 80% of the approved amount.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Peak, yeah, sorry.
Chris, if we choose the options as laid out here on these projects, that gives us a good window of opportunity for the applications for licenses to be able to do this work?
Correct. Yeah, the window to complete any in-water work is September 30th, prior to September 30th of that year.
So we could have this restoration work done during the season?
That's the intent, that we would proceed with the F&I docks and the pathway work initially, and then plan for doing Lakeshore Drive work in the fall.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? So, just, yeah, go ahead, please.
I was going to bring it forward.
Yeah, I was just gonna, just a quick question of Mr. Johnson. So when your comment about the composite decking not being any advantage, given the lifespan of the piles, that's why you went for option 1 versus 2?
Correct.
And
Okay,
to be able to start it very quickly.
Start it right away? Yeah, okay, thanks very much. Did you have something else, Councillor?
No, I'm fine, thank you,
Okay,
Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Peak?
That the following resolutions, that staff proceed with repairing the F&I docks with new timber decking on the existing piles, and that staff proceed with asphalt pathway repairs and installation of enhanced riprap. And 3, that staff proceed with repairs along Lakeshore Drive North to mitigate erosion and enhance the riprap.
Seconder, please. Councillor Boot, thank you. Any further discussion? Sounds like we need to move on this to get things cracking for this summer's use, right? Good. Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much. Where are we?
Parcel-
12.4, parcel tax.
So this is just the parcel tax review panel appointments. Nicole, did you want to speak to it, or council has the report? We just need 3 people named to the review.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The purpose of this report is to appoint 3 councillors to the parcel tax roll review panel, as well as to set the meeting for that purpose. This is a legislated requirement to be done each and every year, as a parcel tax is added, as there is this year for Mountain View growers, that was added to the local sanitary sewer service area.
Okay. Councillor Peak?
I will put my name forward for that, and I'll bring it forward as a resolution.
Okay, well, we've got 2 people missing, so their names can go on here, couldn't they? Okay, anybody else? We need 2 more.
count?
No, the mayor doesn't count. Yeah. He's got no good with numbers, obviously.
The scheduling of this meeting is just prior to our next regular council meeting, right?
No, it's an 8:30 a.m. on April 9th, plus the introduction to 6:30.
6:30.
Yes, 6:30 p.m. Is the recommended time.
It does, I thought, that's fine.
Okay.
So it is at 6:30?
It's at
or-
6:30 p.m. On April the 9th,
Yeah.
Okay.
just prior to the council meeting.
Sparkle?
I can come early that night.
Okay. Councillor Boot?
Sure, I'll come early that night,
Good.
too.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the resolution.
The councillors
okay,
Peak,
yep,
Barkwell, and
Boot.
Boot.
Be appointed to the
Yes.
218 parcel tax roll review panel. So we'd like to bring the rest of that forward. Councillor Boot?
Oh, that councillors Peak, Barkwell, and Boot be appointed to the 2018 parcel tax roll review panel, and that we have the meeting April the 9th at 6:30 in council chambers to review, consider any complaints, make corrections, and authenticate the roll.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Trainer, thank you. Pretty straightforward, all in favor? Opposed, carried. Thank you. Okay, new business, 13.1 CAO.
Council, staff just wanted to update you on the work that's being done on legalization of cannabis. Last meeting, or the meeting before, council did direct staff to put together a program for public education and public feedback. Since then, we've had a staff member doing a lot of research to find out what other communities are doing as far as the public engagement process. we've really recognized that although many people within the community seem to understand that the medical marijuana and the growing and the large grow-ups have been an issue, it seems to be under the radar screen a little bit that the legalization of recreational cannabis is coming, and that there's decisions to be made in regards to whether it can be sold in your community, what your limitations are going to be put on, and the provincial government has good guidelines out now, which we reported, I think, last meeting, and also on the how it's used in your community. We do have the clean air bylaws in different communities, and that can say that it can't be done. For example, you can't smoke cigarettes on our trails and our beaches, et cetera, and we may want to update those bylaws a little bit more. So what we've really discovered is that we want to start doing education on the legalization, so before people can start answering feedback forms or surveys on what they want to see as far as the sales, and they need to know what's out there. So we're immediately starting some development of some promotional material. I have a meeting tomorrow with the person that's done all the research to get some best practice. There's Tofino and Nelson and Parksville, and a little bit even Penticton, are starting to take a bit of a leading role in the engagement with their businesses and residents. So we've got some really good examples on some of the material that's gone out as far as the information that people need to know. That's what we're going to be working on. I think the next newsletter that we send out, we will actually have a large part of that that's the information, did you know, and then information about the legalization of cannabis. And then we'll follow it up either with a feedback form or some type of survey form to get the input. It's mainly around the sales of cannabis and what the thoughts are there. So that's going to be coming very quickly now. I would say starting with the next newsletter.
Okay.
And it'll come back to council more formal with more, but I just wanted to keep you up to date that we are we've been actively working on that. Of course, the other whole side of things is in the zoning and development area, with the zoning more to do with the actual production and processing. We're still, some of it's quite straightforward, but there may be some limitations. For example, if a large processing facility is allowed in the industrial zones. We have some industrial zones here that might be very close to a school or other facilities, so we may have to do some tweaking there. The ALR is still, we're waiting for more information from them. But, so there'll be that part of it, which is the production and processing side. That'll be coming from development services fairly quickly. And then the sales and use side of things as well, of the recreational.
Councillor Trainer?
Is there different policies or rules that need to be developed for non-medical versus medical, like in terms of production and processing and where it's sold? Is it governed separately, or is it all under one umbrella?
I believe, and Dean may correct me, but on the once the sales of the recreational is there, then it'll be under one umbrella, from what I understand.
Yeah, and there hasn't been a separation yet.
Yeah.
There may be a separation on distribution, but that has not been solidified as to how that's going to work, nor is it solidified on where it can be produced. So the licensing that's in place right now is only for medical marijuana, and the federal government has not brought forward what they're planning to do for production, medical and recreational, as well as the ALC is looking at that exact question, is whether medical marijuana should be regulated differently on ALC land than recreational marijuana, or whether it should be all one.
So if we had a bylaw, like for example, the no smoking bylaw on our trails, would that apply to recreational and medical, or would it just?
From what I understand, will be cannabis at that point in time. But like I say, even when they're talking about how much you can possess, the up to 30 grams and being able to share amongst adults, that's all just cannabis in general. They're not saying recreational cannabis. They're now just saying the words cannabis in general. So they're still working on the committee with representation from local government, provincial government, and the feds together on this committee. So there is more to come, but it's because it also includes on what people are allowed to grow in their homes and all of those restrictions as well. So we will.
We got a long ways to go, in other words. We're just getting into it right now.
Yeah, there is much more information, especially on the sales and use side. There's so much more than there was 3 weeks ago or a month ago. Even now, the production side's still this blur, but this side we can get some good information out. The provincial because of course that's been delegated to the province. So the province had made these statements. So and they really chose to go sort of the liquor store model.
Okay.
So that we need to start getting the education out there, though, because I don't think there's a lot of people that are aware that it's coming to this magnitude, that in many communities you'll be able to walk down the street and legally smoke a marijuana or joint or whatever. So.
Councillor Peake had a question, but I think Mr. Strachan, did you have something to add?
I was just going to note that there is a number of applications that have applied under the federal licensing that are continuing, and that is creating additional confusion.
Yes.
Is that people have still got applications, it's taken some of them years to get through the process for medical marijuana operations, under the idea that they would then become also recreational, but there is no guarantee of that. But those licenses, the federal government continues to proceed with and continues to move through the approval process. And there's likely going to be new facilities that are licensed here in Summerland, but also in other communities, under those federal medical marijuana regulations, which are going to confuse the whole situation for the community even more so.
That's a good point.
Something to add, Councillor Peake?
Yes, thank you. I did ask about this over a year ago because I felt that we needed to begin the discussion even perhaps sooner. I do understand that there's changes that have been more recent. I know that in my reading that, communities are looking at whether in fact they want to have sales or how many sales they might allow on their main streets, whether they're close to schools, those type of questions. So I think that an education process is a good point to start with. But I would like to see a good report come forward to us en route with this education process.
Right, and hopefully the report that we gave last council meeting with the 2 reports from the lawyers, that's pretty much, it summarizes everything that's known so far. That's kind of the summary of it all. There's been a little bit more this week, but that's why what we need to do now is tie it into the bylaws and our own bylaws and how that what would have to be considered with those bylaws and what might need to be changed or adapted. So there's finally some good information that we can put out there for opinions on. Up until now, there hasn't been.
Okay, so you don't need anything from us? It's just
No, it's just to
an
keep you
intro?
informed
Yeah,
that
okay.
there's more coming, and we did put some staff resources on just to see if we could find some other communities that were further ahead.
Great, thank you very much. Moving on to 14.1. Guess it's Mr. Strachan. Mr. Strachan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is the bylaw for 9918 Quinpool Road. This is the application that we had the public hearing for earlier this evening. And the consideration is for third reading of the bylaw. The bylaw is required to go to highways for approval prior to consideration of adoption. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. It's pretty much straightforward. Councillor Boot?
May I bring that forward?
Yes, go ahead.
That zoning bylaw amendment, bylaw number 2018-003, be read a third time.
Seconder, please. Councillor Peake, thank you. Anything further? All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Moving on to 14.2, CAO.
I'll turn this one over to the Director of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A requirement of the community charter is that council has to adopt an annual financial plan prior to May 15th of each year. Over the past few months, council has worked through several budget workshops. These workshops have set the foundation for the 2018 financial plan. At the last regular council meeting, council did advise staff to present the proposed financial plan at the March 22nd financial plan open house. The financial plan that was presented incorporated all of council directives. Any initiatives that were not fully endorsed by council were not included in that plan. An example of this is an additional $10,000 funding request that council had received from the museum at the March 12th Committee of the Whole meeting. Council heard the request but did not give staff direction to incorporate the funding into the financial plan. As such, the amount was not included. The well-attended open house did give residents the opportunity to ask specific questions, listen to a formal presentation, as well as provide both verbal and written comments. Over 65 pieces of correspondence were received pertaining to the financial plan, and I believe from talking to our manager of legislative services, we had received some more correspondence over the course of the weekend. Is that correct?
That's correct. 2 pieces of correspondence were received after the publication of the report and are available on the back table.
Thank you. The 2 most discussed items were the funding of the skate park and inclusion of funding for pickleball courts. 52 comments supported funding the skate park with federal gas tax funds, where 5 comments were opposed. And an additional 10 comments were received in support of the construction of new pickleball courts with funding to come from gas tax funds. Those were public comments. Now, although the current financial plan currently does not include funding for pickleball courts, this does not preclude council from funding or from amending the future plan. The feeling is that the recreational master plan, which should be coming out soon, it should be a key component in the decision-making process. So this financial plan before council will set the basics for the district's tax rates bylaw. Council will have a tax rates workshop either on April 9th or the 23rd, where at the committee of the whole meeting, where we can discuss items such as tax shift and tax multiples. And so the proposed financial plan bylaw is now ready to be considered by council.
I just want to add on the comment about pickleball. Although, yes, indeed, the recreation master plan is expected to be complete, as you know, fairly soon and will inform more. I think the conversation I had with the president of the Pickleball Association, who supported the conversation with me on this issue, is that more conversation needs to happen with the recreation manager, given her relative newness, understanding of the role, and then have more conversation with the Recreation Commission as well. So it's not, the Recreation Master Plan is an important component of it, but even if it was finished right now, she wouldn't be in the position to fully understand the outdoor court situation. So I know that there was a couple comments about that why would the recreation master plan be the thing that's stopping it? And it's really not so much that, it's making sure that she fully is understanding how that's tying into that development as well. And as the Director of Finance said, even if it was determined to be quite, just growing so much that council wanted to do something quickly this year, a financial plan can be amended, and because it's not taxation dollars that is used for capital projects, you'd be able to take it from a reserve or a grant position anyway and have it funded this year.
Councillor Peak.
Yes, I know there was discussion at the open house by people in the audience to me that may have been to other councillors as well, whether there was any option with the tennis courts at the high school, whether there might be a possibility for use of those courts as well for pickleball. And I know that that would take an understanding of what that might be, and then an opportunity to discuss that with the trustees.
And that's absolutely correct. That's the kind of things that Lori, ultimately, it might be council with the trustees, but the first step needs to be Lori, our manager of recreation, learning exactly that, having the conversations with the school boards, and fully understanding before we do any knee-jerk reaction. So yes, that's right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had some discussions with some of the pickleball people that night as well, and I think what you're suggesting about conversation with the rec manager would be very important for her to understand, where they're at, because there are some fairly quick and simple solutions to expand their capacity. We have designated courts down at Peach Orchard, but even with that, the one tennis court that is left as a tennis court could also just have lines put on it to enhance the amount of potential use. And then even, I don't know this for sure because I haven't looked, but I understand the school tennis courts were resurfaced. I'm not sure about that, but they were fairly rough at one point, and they may have been redone in terms of resurfacing. If they have been, then that further discussion that we're talking about could perhaps occur where just additional lines are put in, because you get 4 courts per tennis court. So it would expand the use considerably, but we'd want to be in discussion with the school board and see what the options there, and I'm not sure whether that surface has been redone. So somebody said it had been.
I think the main thing is that those discussions will happen for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I guess what I'm getting at is that there are some opportunities that are very little cost, even with expanding, some of the potentials that are there, to give them some additional space for this season is what I'm driving at. So, Councillor Peak.
Yes, I just wanted to say that the choice of having a skateboard park in partnership with the District 67 trustees is a really important partnership, and I think for the community and the school board and ourselves to recognize that to have young people have a gathering place and a place of exercise and fun is an important choice, and I think it's a choice that council makes deliberately and with full understanding that the youth need to be supported in our community, and this is a very visible way of doing that. They show support for the project. They've been involved for it for several years now, all through this council and previously, and with the extra funds from Penny Lane, I think the time to move is now.
And I don't think there's any question that the last time all of us met together, it was a good expression of support by all of council. But I think one comment that I guess our CAO made, or perhaps it was our CFO, that there could be funds found out of reserve to maybe do something more substantial this year, but we have no plans in place or anything like that to add to, say, the Peach Orchard courts.
What I suggested is that if it was determined once because there is a report coming to council, once Lori Mullen is back from holidays, there is a report coming after she is with the Recreation Commission on pickleball. And after that discussion, if there was something identified of more that council did feel like moving forward, it would be a strategy. It would be either through gas tax funds or through a capital
we would still have
reserve.
the opportunity to do that as well.
At any time during the year for any project, you could
Okay.
amend the financial plan.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Councillor Peak.
Quick question to David. So David, if we go through the first, second, and third reading tonight, then we would move towards a discussion on April 9th or 23rd regarding the finalization of the budget?
The financial plan itself?
Yes.
The financial plan would go up for adoption on April 9th.
But just to be clear, if you did 3 readings, if there's more discussion that's wanted, it would be tonight, because it would only be adoption on the 9th.
Correct.
So it would be, this is the time that you'd want to have the discussion.
Thank you. That's really what I was looking for.
Anybody else? Because we've had, to get to this point, we've certainly had full discussions, and the workshop was the opportunity to have public input, and that's been provided. We've all had the opportunity to look through that and all the information to date with the presentations and workshops we've had. So if there's any, as the CAO just said, if there's anything to add that you have got a burning desire to see something happen, now is the time to do it. Councillor Barco.
I just wanted to note, even though that the motion isn't on the table yet, that the letters of support for the skate park was impressive, and 50, just over 50, and of particular note is that they weren't just form letters signed by people running around to the school or something getting signatures. All of them, I read all of them, and including the ones against it, and I wouldn't say that people were so much against it as that they just want to know which their priority to come first, but they were all different. They were all their own words and their own reasons, and that was something of note to me.
Thank you. Would someone like to bring that forward, or Councillor Trainer, have you got some?
I can bring forward the
Yeah,
two
please do.
motions and
Yep.
then we discuss more.
Yep.
So I will bring forward the two motions as recommended. So the financial plan for first and second reading as well as the third reading.
Thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Peak, thank you. Okay, any further discussion at this point? Good. Councillor Trainer, go ahead.
I guess I'll just add my 2 cents about the skate park. I recognize it probably looks like a lot of money to people, but I think that every so often you get an opportunity to do these kind of things, and I think now is the time, and we have lots of community support. We have the school board on board, and that might not always be the case, and so I think it's time to do something for young people, and I'm really excited about it. And I would also say I don't think any projects are more or less important than others. They just happen to come up at different times, and so I'm definitely supportive of pickleball as well. And I think we just need to be patient and support each other, and their time will come as well.
Yep. Well,
Yep.
we may be able to help them out
Sooner than
yeah. we may think. Okay, all in favor? Did we have a seconder? I guess we
Yeah.
did.
Mhm.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. So we'll be ready for you on the 9th, is it?
Yeah, and just, I'm not sure if council recognizes, but the reason that we bring the financial plan forward now, and then the tax rates bylaw later, is that the roll does get revised, so you can't do the tax rate bylaw yet, but for planning purposes and for getting going on the financial plan, the bylaw needs to be adopted so that staff can start putting the initiatives underway.
Okay, good. Thank you, everybody. Okay, moving on to council reports. Councillor Peak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There was an Arts Council meeting. The council is continuing to involve parts of the community in their programming. The board members are working forward and doing board governance workshop that's being put on by the chamber. Angelique is working on changes to the banner program with the Arts Council. I also attended the United Way at Poplar Grove. They had a thank you to supporters and a celebration of the work being done within the area. It was very well attended, and there's a lot of worthwhile projects that we've supported and have been done through that United Way as well. Myself, as did several other councillors, and the mayor attended the chamber AGM at the waterfront for the installation of the new board. I attended the Philosophers Cafe, and as did the mayor, and it was a very good speaker, Lori Wilson from the PIB. She's a lawyer and a social worker and an activist, and she spoke about solutions, community-based solutions for harmful impacts on family violence. She was an extremely effective speaker, and I learned a lot. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Boot.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On March the 14th, I attended the next to last SILGA meeting before the convention, which is in the last week of April. And a couple of things, I know that not everybody here is attending, but a couple of presentations that are lined up and on the program is a speaker on social media and democracy, which is pretty cogent right now. And also, top of the list, the Joint Provincial and Local Government Committee is going to be there speaking on cannabis regulation. And of course, that'll be towards the end of April, so we still won't be there, but there should be more information. Let's see, I don't want to duplicate. On behalf of the mayor, last Thursday I attended the 4th Annual Water Forum. That is a primarily an Okanagan Nation Alliance presentation, and we had the opportunity to tour water projects that are underway from Mission Creek in Kelowna all the way down to Hardy Creeks, Sunoka Beach, the Oxbows at Penticton. We had lunch at the Anaukin Center on the Penticton Indian Band, and it was an absolutely amazing day. Just incredible speakers. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the opportunity to attend that on your behalf. Let's see. As most councillors know, I think, I would like to invite everyone, well, all councils and the designated staff in the RDOS region to attend the Okanagan-Similkameen Healthy Living Coalition Food Security Forum. It is a gathering, it's a working session for 4 hours in Karamias on April the 12th. It is a free event, but registration is required. The forum will end with a dinner catered by the local Similkameen Indian Band. Please be aware that we are looking for lots of good collaboration and engagement as we work on food security in the regional district. And finally, tomorrow I will be attending the UBCO Okanagan Urban Studies Research Symposium being held on their campus in Kelowna. Thank you.
Mr. Barkle.
Councillor Booth, could you give me the date for that food security thing again?
I'll get you.
April 12th, okay, thanks. I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank Eric Thompson for his 2 years of service as the now he's the outgoing president of the Chamber of Commerce. I know it's a lot of volunteer work, and thank you, Eric. He's here? Yeah, he's often here. No, he's here.
He just hung around just for that. Didn't he?
Yeah. He didn't know. He didn't wait for me to say that. No.
Okay.
I attended many other functions the same councillors did.
Thank you. Councillor Trainer.
On Saturday, we held the 11th Trout Creek Community Cleanup on Saturday morning, and we had about 12 people out, and we got about 25 bags of garbage along the highway, which was really good. As well, members of the Trail of the Okanagans cleaned up the lakeside trail from the north end of Trout Creek to the south end, the north end of Trout Creek to the south end of the other. I can't speak right now. The trail. The trail. They cleaned it. It's nice and clean now. So it's ready for sweeping. And I believe they got about 5 or 6 bags of garbage from there. So I just wanted to thank the district because they supply us with garbage bags and with vests, and then they pick up the garbage on Monday morning for us. So we really are happy about that. And then I also attended the Bike to Work Week meeting last week. There's a new committee, and I wanted to thank Tammy and Angelique for attending and helping to lead that. And it's a good committee this year, and I'm looking forward to the event. I won't be doing as much work this year, but I will still contribute as I can. So that's really exciting. And it's the last week of May is when Bike to Work Week is.
So what's the problem, Councillor Trainer?
I won't be able to ride my bike with a baby.
I thought it might be that. Thank you very much. Okay, now's an opportunity for any members of the public to make any comments they may wish to. Does anybody like to come forward? Good. Thank you. Press? Anybody from the press? Susan.
I have 2 questions. The first one has to do with the traffic safety on Highway 97.
Yes.
And these red light cameras will be installed at all of the intersections, or just the one at Solid? You mentioned the one at Solid.
I think it's just Solly, isn't it?
I think we need to be clear. Council is going to request the ministry let them know that they would like to see them installed at the intersections, but the ministry is responsible for anything that goes on in the highway, so it'll be up to them if they do or do not.
The request will be for all of the intersections, and that's fine. Is Bentley Road within the
I think we're just talking,
municipality?
It was just the two lights.
It's just the two lights that council's talking about right now.
Just
On the hill.
Yeah,
Well,
on the hill.
on
the hill, the two-
There's one at Johnson, Solly, and Peach Orchard.
Right.
And not at Jones Flat, okay.
The two they were talking about were the two in the downtown, or the, up here in the hill.
Okay, and then Councilor Peak spoke about the employer compact, and it was mentioned in the letter from the mayor of Maple Ridge. And I was wondering if there's perhaps Director of Finance's lump to direct this question, but do we have an idea about the size of the impact that will have on someone?
So based on the district's 2017 payroll, we would see our premium increase by $27,300.
And just a note, Councilor talked about it at last council meeting, the district already paid MSP premiums for the employees here. That's why, I mean, it's still a significant jump in 27,000, but it's not the same as a jump at an organization that wasn't already paying the MSP premiums prior to that.
So that this year there'll be an increase of $27,300 on top of what was paid last year.
The increase doesn't come into effect until January 1st, 2019.
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you.
John, anything? Okay, thank you very much. Could I have a motion for adjournment, please? Councillor Barkwell, Councillor Peak, all in favor? Carried, thank you.